let's get the cameras on. Hi,
Hey,
Hima.
hi.
How?
Good
क्या
evening.
हाल चाल?
बस यार,
What's up?
going all good. Preparing for universities, no, now. So I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. This one is the perfect for you and Abha. Absolutely.
Yes,
Very good.
exactly.
Good timing of this. Hi, Gayatri.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good,
Lovely to
ma'am.
see
How
you.
are you? Nice to see you too.
Very good. Very nice. Good to see. I think we have a very good turnout already, and I know people are joining in because it's literally 5 o'clock now. But I wanted to kick off, guys. Because I want to start on time and let people join in. The first few minutes, I think I know most of you are moms here, right? So I want to hear from all of you how stressful is the university application process, and then what do you think is the biggest hurdle you guys face, or biggest, the lack you face of knowledge that you face that you are going through right now. I know a lot of you are you have kids in that age group where you have to start thinking about applying to universities, right? Who wants to go first?
So I will start. First thing
Huh?
which I think as of now is when we were in college, we were doing a graduation. That was the time when the trend started to go to masters के लिए. अभी now you go to somewhere in US or UK or anywhere. But
Right.
that time profile building was not as important as it is right now because the
Hmm.
competition has increased then.
Hmm.
जो था वो अभी that's on the same case right now. So how to build the profile, which things, but I mean in for building profile we just go to everywhere, ये भी कर लो वो भी कर लो, ये भी help करेगा वो भी help करेगा, but उसमें से actually which things will really matters. So
Yeah.
that is one thing. And again, yes, that is this is now because my daughter is in ninth. So how to build a profile, how to build a profile which stands in between all the application which is there. And of course then documentation process. I have not been through it because she is my only child, but yes, I have heard from friends that documentation process is a quite tedious for university and everything. They are quite demanding. So these two things just comes into my mind immediately. Of course there may be many more questions later on, but these are the two things which I feel on the immediate
Yes.
basis. And profile
Absolutely
building is the
agree.
most important right now because she's in
Yeah.
ninth grade
She's
as
in
of now.
ninth grade, so it's a time to start. Anything
Yes.
other than opening the floor to others? Anything other than profile building and documentation which worries you before we kick off? Anything on your mind, Gayatri? You're there.
Yeah,
Guys, switch on
okay.
your cameras.
Yeah, my camera's on. Can you
Yeah,
not
yeah,
see?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can see
Okay,
you.
so to
Hmm.
be frank, I'm a university person. I have my own university in Bahrain, back in town.
Okay, okay,
So we all are involved into business. Being a
okay.
so we have various universities from abroad, from India, IGNU and all we are dealing with. So but those universities are different. It's not
Hmm.
like other universities. Their exams are online, everything.
Hmm.
So, but
Got it.
these are also different extremes, right? So, how can you deal with these kind of students? These students have a different pattern of, right? So, how do you deal with them?
Wonderful. Okay, I think that makes sense. So, profile building, documentation, how do you deal with the various types of universities there? Let's kick off our session, guys. Today is meant to be a super informative session. All we wanted to do was tell you about, how tedious the process of applying to universities is. How can MentorMind come into the, can help you? And I met Kanchi a few weeks ago. We actually spoke one afternoon and we ended up meeting at another offline event by chance. It is meant to be what is meant to be. And we're very proud to present to you a webinar which is all about, I think, it won't answer, nothing can be answered 100%, but it'll help you think in the right direction in terms of profile building. What does it take to get into the bigger Ivy League universities? When we're talking about Cambridge, we're talking about Harvard, we're talking about, the other big ones on the league that we all dream and aspire that our kids should go to. But just like confused parents we don't know where to start, how to do about it. So guys, Kanji comes with an amazing, amazing educational background. Welcome to the webinar, Kanchi, and thank you so much for doing this for us. She is currently a senior manager. She's in the senior management of DIA Emirates Hill School, which is one of the most prestigious schools in Dubai, as we know. And she is an IBGP examiner, as we all know. She's a workshop leader. She has been in the education industry for a long time. So welcome to the
Thank you so
webinar,
much,
Kanchi.
Seema.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I think I want to just kick off with the very basic question. Like, tell us a little bit about MentorMind. How did the idea come into being, and why MentorMind, and what all do you do?
So basically, as you correctly said, I have multiple hats that I wear of examiner, SFT, this and that. But at the end of the day, I'm also a parent, number one. And at the same time, when I became a career coordinator, I suddenly realized how much of confusion, and this is what you were asking the rest of the people out here, that there's so much of confusion. And because of that confusion, it leads to stress. It takes to wrong decisions. Then there is so much of scurrying. Let's do this, kya kare, this, that, so much of that. So because of that, I started MentorMind with two things. Number one, the most important thing is to have clarity, not just the student, but the parent, that the entire journey should be very clear to them. And they should be able, if someone went and asked a parent, your son is doing this, but why? They should be able to understand, my son is doing this because of this. If he doesn't do this, this is the implication. If he's doing it, this is the implication. Only then will you have clarity. And as parents, there is no better stakeholder than you, who's more invested in your child's education and future. You should be able to take the best decisions confidently, that I know what I'm doing for my child is best. So that is why I started off MentorMind with this thing. And obviously we do the entire gamut of academic support, profile building, which careers, even if you start to build your profile, what career should my child go for, what kind of subject should I go, what kind of activities should I do. Then the entire thing of academic support, about writing the essays, about choosing the universities. So we do all of those things. That's number one. The other thing, as a parent, and as you know, I'm working with DIA Emirates Hills. It must be the best of the schools, yes. But at the end of the day, we have teachers. Teachers' salaries are never very good, never very high. So every year, that entire spending huge amounts, to send students abroad for this program, that program, it is like too much on the pockets. So this is the second thing. And because I'm in industry for 20 years, I know a lot of people. Many of my students have got into the top universities. So another thing I do now, as MentorMind does, is that we bring people from there to Dubai. Whether it's MIT, Harvard, Princeton, you want United Nations, you want Nobel laureates, you want people from Imperial for college, for medicine, we are going to get them here for you, so that the parents can give their children the same kind of programs at probably 1/5 the cost. So, and I have to say this, that I have a year 9 child. I bring programs where my child also goes to. So I find value in it, and that's why I send them there. So that was the answer. So should we start then?
Yeah, why don't we start? I think, why don't you go through what you have?
Yes. So if I can go to the next slide, please. So again, thank you for everyone for joining me. It's a weekday and you're in the evening. You've given me your time. So first, I wanted to start off by presenting to you the kind of successes that we have, so that you also find value in attending this webinar. You go back with knowing that, yes, this is something that was worth your time. So if you look at the class of 2028, this is where some of our students have gone out here. And if you go to the next slide, please.
Whoa.
So
all the good names out there.
In our 10 years that we've been working, you can see we've got Harvard, MIT, Princeton, Caltech, Cornell, Stanford, Purdue, Cambridge, everywhere our students have gone. And this has only been possible because it was very, and I'm talking, I think, to Miss Hema, what she said, that there's so many different things that you have to do. No, you don't need to do. If you do your homework and if you go to the MIT website and the application process, there is no way you can write more than 4 activities only. So you need to know what those four have to be. No one is asking you to run behind and do multiple different things that you have to do. It's like running around like a headless chicken. This internship, this. No, 4 or 5, very focused, and it will take you there. The next slide, please. So this is like the goal of our today's webinar, to demystify the application process. You need to know as parents, what is this application process? What matters out here? Why it matters? What is superfluous? We don't need to do this because it does not impact my child's admission. Second, as we are all talking about academic profile, there's a lot of, if I tell someone that there's online, go do your research and come, there's so much of information. How do you know which one is correct, which one is not correct? So to be able to help you understand what is an academic profile, what is required to get admission to the top universities, how to build this profile now, I've got to know. Then why is it necessary in the context of this profile? Why is it necessary to start early and plan in a very strategic manner? And then how you can start with this summer, because the summer vacation is coming right now. What can I do to get this started? I'm going to keep doing the slides. If anyone has any question, you can always type out, and I'll be happy to answer later. The next slide, please. So the 3 things that I have simplified, literally crystallized everything that you read into this slide. There are only 3 things that you need to show in your profile that will get you into Harvard, MIT, Princeton, anywhere. And there is one thing that will lower your chances. So can we go to the next slide, please? So these are the 3 things, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain this to you. The first is strong intellectual potential. If you are trying to go for these top universities, obviously your intellectual potential is very important. They're going to say, if you watch these Instagram profiles, YouTube videos of these universities, they keep telling, is the student teachable? Can the student learn what we are teaching? Does he or she have that potential? So how do we show this? So whether you want to go to Canada, US, UK, wherever, we have the term called super curriculars. Super curriculars means there are few things. Number one, in the school, if you go to any website of any university, you see the word context of the school. So in the context of the school, they want to see what kind of challenging subjects did you take. That is first, you show your intellectual profile and what kind of GPAs are you getting. There is no point taking challenging subjects and getting very low marks. No, that is number one. Outside, are you curious about this? Are you doing online courses? Are you doing some research papers? Are you thinking, are you watching some podcasts somewhere? Are you doing some master classes, reading some journals? And then are you commenting on that? One big mistake that a lot of students do, because I do a lot of counselor references, I help a lot of schools write their counselor references or recommendations, and I will, or even the personal statement for the UCAS, and you will see students writing, I've done this, so many courses that they have done. But that is not what the universities are looking at. They're seeing, what is your thought? What is your reflection on that? Do you think in that personal statement, you can say, okay, I did this course, and have you been able to apply? I'll give you an example. One of my students has got into LSE. He was doing economics and history. So one of the research papers he did was the economic crisis that had happened during the Great Depression. He did all his research, reasons why it happened, how did the government and the central bank, addressed it. In his personal statement, he talked about how he linked it to COVID, how he linked it to the, the Russia-Ukraine problem. That is application. That is what they want to see in your intellectual potential. Then purpose and initiatives, and this for me is the most important thing. They want to see that when I'm looking at someone's profile, I don't know the child, I don't know the name, but I have this profile in front of me. When I'm looking at the profile, without hesitation, I can say this child wants to study this. because everything is going towards that one thing that he or she wants to study. That purpose is very important. You have students with 2 pages of a resume. They come and they tell me, because I help with the essay writing too, that Miss, I don't know how to write this, how to fit that in the few words, because you don't need. You have done so many different things. We do not know, I'm taking a very stupid example maybe, but like a Bollywood masala movie. There's tragedy, there is comedy, there is songs, there is love, there is this. We do not know. But if you look at something that runs like a theme through whatever you do, that is purposeful, that is intentional. And what happens because of this? Two good things happen. They see consistency over a period of time. Second thing they see, because you're doing the same thing, they can map your growth in the skill, in terms of skill. How are you improving in that growth? And the third thing that they see is that, okay, if there is growth, if there is consistency, if there's passion, this child will do. I want to give you an example. You can see it online. MIT's director of admissions has his own blog. And in one of the blogs he wrote, it was very, very famous. He wrote that they accepted a child, an Indian student. He was studying from the Southeast Asia because he used to keep bees in his house. And they rejected the candidate who had apparently created a nuclear reactor in the garage. And when people were absolutely stunned, like, how did this happen? They said that the student who did that reactor, it was a checklist of things. But this boy never could do it. It was just 60 grams or, honey that was done every year. But he consistently did that. So the director said, if a child who is not getting anything out of this, but puts in so much of time and passion because he loves it, imagine what he will do when we allow him to study what he wants to. So to see that kind of initiative, the passion. Third thing is unique perspectives and contributions. And what do we do for this? For this, we need you to be authentic. People will read everything. Okay, this essay was written, this child wrote this child did this and got into it. Let's also do that. That takes away your authenticity from you. So the example that multiple admissions officers, I have attended, I don't know, maybe 100 webinars by, the admissions officers of all these top universities, and they keep saying the same example, that if we had the resumes or the profile of multiple students all on the table, a family member, and with no names written. If the family member reads through all of that, they will say, yeah, this is my child. Because it is so obviously you. You are absolutely, you don't stand out by doing different things. You stand out by being you. They need to see that authenticity. And please remember, these admissions officers are so experienced. They can find out if it is not authentic. You might think, oh, brilliant, that thing. So I think these are the 3 things that we keep in mind. And if you follow this, there's a huge chance of your child getting into the university of their choice. The next slide, please. One thing that is doing too many things without a sense of direction. It will not take you anywhere. The other mistake that I want you to do, so when you're talking of MIT, we said there are only 4 things that you can talk about. But let's go to UCAS. Let's go to Common App. You can write 10 activities. This problem that students make there, the mistake that they do is that they have 10 activities which they have done, which are good activities, but there was no thinking happening. What do I mean by thinking? Every university has its own character, personality. They look for certain things. Every course looks for certain skills. So when you are doing those activities, you should have done your homework. I'm going to plan to go for these universities. These are the skills. So I will do this 10 activities, each activity for one of the skills. And when you are writing your essay and when you are writing your activities, the main mistake people do is that they are writing an activity in the activities list and the essay is also the same activity. What happens is you're losing out opportunities to showcase different aspects of your character. So you need a very good essay advisor who will first tell you, Okay, these are all your experiences. This activity is for your essay, because I will have the time to write about this. These should be in your activity. This being very strategic, what you're doing. There are a lot of consultants, a lot of people who help with the essay. Where they help is after you've written your first draft. The work has to start way before that. Way before that. The next slide, please. So what does a college application include? And again, I heard this question. It is very difficult. It's very intensive. So this is what a college application includes. Your application form, you will have a UCAS, you have Common App, you have Coalition. If you want to go to MIT, MIT says Common App is too bad for us. We have our own session, our own questions and all of that. So there are some universities who are very snooty about that. Of course, different universities in Europe or wherever you want to go, Canada, they have their own application forms. Then you have academic records that are also very important. So you have to, your school has to send transcripts, and that is why from year 9 they want to see. One mistake that students make is that in your grade 11, 12, they start studying very well, and they have fantastic grades. But the university is not looking at those last grades. The university is looking at the last 4. Have you been able to show consistently high grades or not? So it is very important that you don't study only in the last 2 years because, oh, now I need to go to the university, so I need to have a good grade. No, start from before. So 4 years of strong GPA, challenging subjects that you must be taking. If you get awards, transcripts, predicted grades, that is what the school will say. You don't have to worry about it. It's the school's job to do that. Recommendation letters and counselor references. On the recommendation letter, the teacher has to write. But what we call in DIA, we call it brag sheet. In other schools, you call it by someone name. You have to give that sheet of what you have done, your academic profile, to the teacher to be able to write that. Otherwise, what will the teacher write? Same thing for counselor references. Counselor references your holistic profile or what you did in school and outside of school. So without that profile, they can't write anything also. Next slide, please.
Okay, I'm just going to do a quick check, guys. I need to make sure everyone's awake. So can we say a yes in the chat box? Also, we are open to answering all questions. We'll take them up towards the end. We've saved time. So if you have any burning questions which have not been answered while Kanchi speaks, leave them in the chat box and we'll make sure we pick up. So it's very interesting to note, Kanchi, that top grades is not the criteria. It doesn't seem like the criteria,
No.
but it is also very overwhelming for us as parents to figure out, how do we get through this competitive market? What can we do there?
So yes, grades are not very important, though they are important depending upon the university and the course. If you go on their website, they'll tell you entry requirements. So in the entry requirements, you get to see the grade, but they see something even more. The most important things that I say, as I said, the authenticity, the purpose, and we talked about that. What they also want to see is how do you respond to failure? Because you're bound to fail sometime in the university, because getting into the top university is not the end of the game. It will be even more difficult because everyone is as good as you there. And you have to again be better than the rest or something. So there's a lot of pressure. How do you deal with pressure? Do you know in MIT, there are multiple questions. I told you they have a separate application altogether. And they have multiple essays that you have to answer, but there's one essay which is common, which everyone has to answer in MIT, irrespective of the course you do. That is, how do you do to relax? Because they know that it is so challenging, so difficult to do all of this, you must be having some way to de-stress. That is the common question that everyone has to do. So how do you do with challenges, your resilience that they see? How do you adapt? Because the world is constantly changing. Are you open to adaptability? If you go for any of these interviews, they have very, very quick thinking. There's no right or wrong answer. I'll give you some examples. For a medicine, they asked someone, is that if we took the head from here, we took it up from the top of our head, where would you put it in the body and why? There's no right and wrong answer, but you have to say it then and there. It tells you about critical thinking. Another question that they asked this year was, okay, so if you wanted to create, if you wanted to change the pronunciation of an alphabet, which alphabet would it be and why? So you have these kind of questions. So they want to see critical thinking. There's again no right or wrong answer. They want to see someone who can assimilate. So when they have interviews, which is again, if you are first round, you have been successful, they will call you for the interview. In the interview, they'll ask questions like this, apart from the questions that you will be thinking. Like, again, I'm telling you for medicine, one of the first questions they asked is, what will you say to convince a person that they should not study medicine? So this person has gone, why medicine is everything is very good. They will say why it is not good. They will ask you those kind of things. So that is there. Then they will talk about a particular topic, and there would be 5 professors who would be giving 5 different perspectives. How well can you listen, evaluate what they have said, and come up with your own justification why this is right, what that is wrong? Again, they are not saying whether you're right or wrong. They're saying, do you have that capability to evaluate? That is something very, very important. And most, again, very importantly, I would say real life. Because at the end of the day, they want someone who will be able to do something that impacts the world. They want to see that a project or a research, it has real world impact. So adaptability, flexibility, how you respond to failure, to stress, critical thinking. These are some of the other qualities that you look for. And if anyone's interested, you can always go online and you can do, Oxford has this, it's called the TSA, the Thinking Skills Assessment. So it is created to make you feel bad about yourself. So, so you have to keep practicing it, and every year they change the questions, but your brain will start thinking. Does that answer the question, Rima?
It does. Thank you very much. It did.
Okay. So can we go to the next slide? So apart from what we have, you also have your essays where you speak about your voice and the purpose, as we told you. So it could be the Common App, personal statements, supplementary essays that the US has. You have interviews, and of course, there are a lot of standardized testing. You will see on the website, a lot of universities says test optional. But they want to see that you have challenged yourself by taking the test and how good are you in the test. So you have SAT, you have UCAT for medical, LNAT for law, TMUA is for medicine. And I want to tell you, your child might want to go to the US, but if you do TMUA and if you do well, this shows that you have the capability in you. So it's not necessary that you will do it only if you're going to the UK. If you go to the UK, this is mandatory. And as I said, the TSA, that is there. So all this information for the entire application comes from that one academic profile. If that is not there, none of the applications go apart from your grades. Nothing will be strong enough to push your candidacy forward. Next slide, please. So the 2 pillars, as I told you, challenging subjects, and then you have an academic profile. So what does this academic profile look like? Advanced courses beyond school. So in school, challenging subject, getting good grades. Can you do something outside? A lot of people do AP subjects to get credits, to show that, I've challenged myself. I'm a self-learner, independent learner. So independent research projects. For this, I know it will come later, but because I'm talking about it, research projects are very important, because what students do is they take the search is all wrong. It's a very misguided search that students do. Students, 99% of the search for a research is to get a research mentor. That is not the right way. The right way is, if you're going to these universities, what are the professors specialized in this? What are their, new initiatives about? So taking your research project based on one of those topics, because then the university sees this child is actually invested in our university. This child's work, research, is to prepare himself to enter our university. So having that research topic is very important. Academic reading, books, journals, everything. And as I mentioned before, if you just write, I wrote this books, it is not important. What did you think about it? What did you apply about it? Competitions, and of course, passion projects, again, to show your passion that is there. Co-curriculars, again, very thoughtfully done. Clubs and communication skills. And you will see that if you again go to MIT, and I know MIT inside out because my son wants to go there, so I can tell you which page has what by now. So if you go to MIT page, you want to study engineering, they will tell you which subjects they're looking for. Do you know they like history to be a subject? Which, even though you're studying there, they want to see communication skills. You will find students with probably a lower academic profile in STEM, but does brilliantly in debating and communication. That child will get into the place because they look for these kind of skills too. Next page. Real life academic enhancers, internships, work experience. Now, you do not have to go running for an internship. Community engagement, leadership activities. Let me give you an example to tell you why. Stop running around and paying people to get this. I'll give you an example of one of my students a few years back, and I do, because of online thing, you can do consultancy anywhere in the world. So this was a boy in Hong Kong, and he was going into a school which was only for boys. So, and he wanted to study computer science, computer engineering. So what he did was that because he went to a boys' school, his entire passion project that he created was, why do girls not get into gaming as much as boys do? So his entire research, he didn't need a research professor for that. He just went online, did the research and find out why do girls don't play as much, video games as boys? When they play, which games do they play and which games they don't play? That was his research. Based on that, for his work experience, he created entire set of games for girls. That was his work that he was doing. Leadership, he went to Virgin in the mall, the Virgin store in the mall, and said, and even to the competitions that are there of robotics and this and that, these are games that I created. Any girl who comes, can you give it to them free of cost? Virgin would not allow it because it took him 3 months of persuasion to make them understand. That is leadership for the for the university. And then he created, so you see, everything he did was based on computer science. It was just purposeful. He did his research based on that. He did his community. And so he helped people, he helped girls in doing that. His leadership, everything was that surrounding that one. He got into Stanford. Did he run behind anyone? Did he spend time doing money? No. So that is what we are looking at. I would also want to say something out here, and the community engagement must show impact. Lot of students do write in their resumes at school. Every time there's a natural disaster, they will say, we have sent food, we have collected this, we have collected this, we have collected that. 2 things are missing. That impact is temporary. They want you to show something that has a long-term impact and you create a legacy. It cannot stop when you move. You have been able to inspire other people. So that community engagement, it can be very simple. One of my students who is in Dubai, lives in Dubai, she used to go every evening at 9 to 10. She went to some of the restaurants that she would collect the food that was there. She would go and give it to the the labor camps every day. She went there every day for 6 months. Then people got to know about it. So in different neighborhoods, it started. She's gone to the university, but it still continues. That is impact. That is legacy. Did you have to go to a top person to create that kind of a project for you? No. Just think what you can do around yourself. That will create impact. Any questions still here as of now that you would want me to answer?
Any questions?
I've mentioned in the chat box actually You can check
Okay.
on that, ma'am.
I'll just check. I'll just read out those. Are these procedures applicable for Indian universities like IGNOU and Manipal? And
No.
the second question is, are credits important for students of 11th and 12th who are planning to go abroad?
If you want to go abroad, again, abroad means UK, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, US.
Hmm.
These countries, yes, they would like credits. They would do that. If you go to Europe, some of the countries in Europe, they just need a fantastic academic record.
Hmm.
That is it. And they will have entrance exams to get into it. However, there are two things you need to remember. In many of the, just because you want to go to Europe does not mean you just go to any university. You go to a good place. When you go to a good place, what will definitely want is that they would want you to know the language. So the first year, you need to know the language that is there. And the second thing you need to know is that, for example, if you go to Netherlands, for example, it is easy to get in. And they will tell you, if you do this subject, this is the GPA that I want. The first time you don't get the GPA, they will send you back home. It
Okay,
is
so if
easy
a
to get.
student does, excuse me, ma'am, if a student does not get that particular GPA, they won't be given admission into
No,
the
the
specific college.
GPA level to get into the universities in Netherlands is easy.
Okay.
Once you have got into it, if you don't
Okay.
maintain the GPA that they have asked you for that subject,
Okay.
you will be out. They also talk
Okay.
about attendance. If your attendance is not good, because a lot of people go there and they go to Europe again. I'll be very frank. If you want to go to MIT, Harvard, Princeton, Oxford, it's huge fees. A lot of students cannot pay those fees, so they go to Europe. Okay. When you go
Okay.
to Europe, and what they do is that they're doing well in their studies, but they are also going and doing some extra work on the side. So 1 or 2 days, you might not be able to go to school. If your attendance is not good, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Netherlands, go back home. They will
Okay.
go finish your thing. So you have to do that. But I would also say things are becoming more and more competitive. So people are asking for, so many people are applying every year for international things. So they want to see beyond grades also now.
Okay, so one more thing. What are the working hours in these countries, ma'am? Because my brother-in-law is in UK as of now. He's doing his digital marketing in MBA. So in UK, it's 20 hours. That's what I've heard. But other countries,
Working is very different, because here we're talking about university admissions out here. But in terms of timing, I will tell you the major difference between UK and US.
okay,
UK is for people who are independent learners.
okay,
Very, very few hours with your professor. It's
okay,
more research work, all of that. US, more time with the teachers. So
oh,
if you are someone who needs that guidance a little bit, who wants to
okay,
go and talk to the professors a little bit, US.
okay,
And you think you can do it on your own, UK. The second thing is UK is for people who are very clear what they want to do.
okay,
US, first year, you are supposed to do every subject and then make your choice. And what I love about US is that you might be doing physics, you might be doing business, you might be doing art all together, because they
okay,
have the holistic view that is there. The other thing about getting into US is that US and UK, all of this, as I said, but in UK, the demand or the expectations for leadership, for community engagement is less. It is more to do with academics. US, all of these things you need to do to be able to, stand out.
okay. So
Next.
they
Okay.
have no time for work. That's what you're
Yeah.
telling me.
No.
Great. We have a lot of questions, Kanchi, which I'm very impressed, which basically makes me believe everybody is awake
Yeah.
right now. I'm
So,
going to combine some of these questions
Mhm.
to make it easier for you. I think we have a few people want to know more about your background. So I'll read out those 2, 3 questions. One, do you help with the application process? Do you charge for your services? Where are you based, Sharjah or Dubai? And how long has MentorMind been there since when? So let's tell people about your background first, and
So
then
my
we'll go to the other
background
specific
is,
questions.
so I have a postdoctorate in English, and I'm also a Fulbright scholar. I have been teaching at universities and all, and after some time I got bored. So for school, I started with, if some, and then many of you will know about India, Dhirubhai Ambani International School. So it is one of the topmost schools. I was the head of English for 10 years. And as a part of my English, as head of English, I used to help students write their application essays. And I was trained by the department there. Once it started doing that, then people said, can you also do a little bit of counseling for us? Can you do this? So from there, it went on, and I became an unofficial member of their career counseling department. Then I came to Dubai and I worked with Dubai International Academy. So again, I was the head of English and I became the DP coordinator. And now I'm the CP coordinator and senior management. So in my role, and this is again where, as I said, why I started this was that as a DP coordinator, every year I interview and do the profiling for 180 to 200 students. Every year, what subjects, and it does not start in it starts from year 10 or grade 9, because it's an MYP school that we have. So you do not take every subject. So which subjects will you take? That will help you go to the DP and you will take the subjects. That will take you to your careers that you want to do. It's a long backward planning. And there are a lot of times that I've heard the students don't know what they want. So it's very difficult. So that is how but experience that I've got from there, and then writing the counselor references for them, I realized this is not a good profile. I can't write a counselor reference like this. So I've been doing this for the last 10 years in Dubai, unofficial, as I said, not with a business perspective, but in school, that is a part of my job. And as a career counselor now, we are the career program. They're looking for real life skills a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you get that? How do you have every internship that you do, everything you do, there has to be an outcome. What are you going to do? So that's my there. And MentorMind has been there officially for the last 2 years, but unofficially it's been there for the last, 20 years now? So
Wonderful. Such an impressive background. Okay, I'm going to take, do you want to finish your slides first?
yeah,
And
I'll
then there
finish
are
up my
certain
slides.
specific
Yes.
certain specific questions around regions. People have more questions on
Yeah,
UK, Singapore,
yeah, sure.
and all that. Let's get through the
Yes,
materials you have, and then we'll open the floor up for everyone. All right?
absolutely. So the next slide, please. A sample resume. So I've created this. So if you have your phone, you can always scan these, because it is one thing for me to say, another thing for you to see. So the first one, if you scan this, it will give you the CV, resume of a student who got into Oxford and is economics. The reason I have written economics and computer science is, again, I get very angry because I'm very emotional, I think, when it comes to these things. When people are showcasing, my student got into Oxford, my student got into that, they never write which subject. I can go to LSE, but I have to then say, am I going to LSE to study economics, or am I going there to study fine art? So I would say one tip, that if you want to go to any consultant and if they say that we have put children there, please ask in which course, because that shows how competitive that student's resume was. So here you have economics for Oxford, which is one of the most difficult courses to get into. And I wanted you to have a look, not just to see what grades he got or what he did. So I'll give you a little brief about this. This child, as I said, intellectual capability. In DP, IBDP, diploma program, you can take 6 subjects. This boy took 7. And he got 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 in everything, straight 45, actually 52 is what he got. He did AP subjects also separately. When we talked about building that passion, that profile he wanted to do, if you look at this right from year 9, he is winning competition after competition after competition, but all in the same business and economics, business and economics. That shows the profile. I told you about debating skills, communication, very important in the debating, getting the best speaker, always also becoming the president of the MUN, Model United Nations. So to have an idea of what it looks like. And the second one was Stanford Computer Science. Very different out here. This boy did everything on his own and for himself. Stanford one, he went and he found what was missing in the school that he went. And it self-taught all different kinds of computer programs, created programs, taught it to the students in the school, and went to the robotic championships. Year after year after year, making his school win. So completely different kind of things, but you get to see what a resume looks like, what you have to do. Music is also there, leadership is also there, self-learning is also there, community is also there. So this is something that I've given you that you can have a look to understand what goes into a very strong resume. Next slide. So I know as parents, it must be quite overwhelming. In school, challenging subjects, clubs, leadership, GPA 3.8 to 4. But when I look at outside school, look at all the things that you have to do, right, to make it sing. But what I say is that it should not overwhelm you. Because if I count it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, so many things. But when you do it strategically, you will do 3 or 4 things only. But those 3 or 4 things will show all of this. Sorry. These 3 or 4 things will show everything. So that is how you plan. Don't do 15 things, do 5 things which show all of these things. That is the strategy to go about it. Can I go to the next slide? So the strategic plan, starting early helps you with a very competitive. You have to start early. If you see, this is what I had in my mind, and that is why my MentorMind's logo is explore, elevate, excel. You need to explore. You have to start early to explore. What is it that your child likes? You have to make the child explore different things. Then you have the time to plan everything in a very staggered way. You don't have to do everything together. Okay, grade 8, I will only do this. Grade 9, a little more. Grade 10, I will do this. So there's a staggered timeline. Everything is not. Will your child study and get a good grade, or will your child do this when you start at your grade 11? And then it gives you the clarity. No stress then. Start off early, and then that is the only way you can beat this monster. Next. So personal statement. So again, going back to the academic profile, when you write your personal statement or your Common App essay, when you start early, it is very easy what you're going to write out here. Your unique story, your meaningful experiences, extracurriculars, whatever you did. It makes so much of sense. You can go to the very good, does not have to be 15. You do not have if you look at some of these supplementary essays for UK, all top universities, all universities have 150 words. If you don't know what you want to write about, how will you write it in 150 words? It is not possible. So you need to have the essence of what you're doing. Next slide, please. So you need to make use of this summer. So coming back to this is and as I said, we need to think about it. I bring these kind of projects. I do this kind of thing so that you can do multiple ticks in the same thing. So the summer project, the program that I have out here is going to introduce you to courses. Now, AI is everywhere. AI is everywhere. I can ask Rima to share this Padlet with all of you. In every career, there's an AI now. So we are bringing AI courses out here. So you're going to get people from MIT, Harvard, Stanford, right down to Dubai for face-to-face course. How are you going to do research papers then? It's a Python programming. And based on the Python programming, you will be converting it into a passion project under their mentorship. So you have a passion project. The second thing that happens is when you're doing the passion project, your mentor will teach you these are the skills how you can do multiple passion projects even after the summer is over. So you've got 4 or 5 passion projects. Research papers. No one's asking you to do research papers now. At this point of time, you can take one of those passion projects and turn that into a research paper. So we teach you scientific research paper. How do you write? What is it that you need to do? You will also be doing learning media, communication skills. So we have boot camps on how to do that. Learning media, we're going to give you access to so much that will help you learn in whichever career that you are. You're doing those kind of courses also. So as I said, we have this AI programming, but if you look at the left side, the add-ons is Python programming, personal branding. You have to stand out today. Personal branding is so important, whether you want to be, because whether you want to have an Instagram, please remember a lot of things students are looking at, school universities are looking at your social media presence. How do you use that to create impact? So how do you personally brand yourself? What kind of values will you associate with yourself when you write that university essay? Networking, everyone does everything online these days, or you meet someone. How do you network? So we have boot camps on networking. Essay writing, so important to be able to write what you articulate who you are. University application, it is one thing. I've got a fantastic profile, but you have to apply. How do I apply? What should I write here? And what? So we have these top mentors who are coming down, who have studied there, doing the graduation, post-graduation, they are PhD, they are postdoctoral, so they know what to do. Support with competitions. You need to have some competitions in your profile. So they also help you, mentor you, train you for those competitions. And of course, they are industry experts, because 2 things you must remember. An academic, has anyone, I'm sorry to say if there are some IIT people out here, are there any IIT people out here?
I am here.
Yes. Now you tell me, Reema, you tell me, if you were an IIT professor, and if I asked you that what kind of a research paper a child should do, vis-a-vis me asking an industry expert who is the CEO of a company or the director of a company and is responsible for the future, looking at the future, what do we have to do in the next 10 years? Who will give you a better idea of what is coming next 10 years down the line?
Oh, don't even remind me about IIT, right? I think it ends up being very theoretical and academic,
Yes.
right?
So
I don't think I'm a chemical engineer and a master's in chemical engineering. I have not used my knowledge for any good.
so you need to have that kind. So we feel that before you go to the research part, you get
Yeah.
an industry expert. So we network, we have a group of advisors who are top industrial experts, and they tell us what's coming 10 years down the line. Because let me tell you again, as a parent, I feel, at least for my son, that it is not enough for me to put the child into a good school. After that, what, he needs to get a job. How easily will he get a job? Where will he get a job? Is he going to go for a career that wherever in the world he goes, he will get a job? What kind of salary will he get? That only industry experts are able to tell you. So we ask industry experts on what you should do your research on, and then we get the professor to do the research for you. And of course, you will get recommendation letters from them. So we have this summer program that takes into account all of these things. Next slide, please. So this is something, maybe if we can do some of, maybe the first one, if we can play it. So these are all our students who have got into this, doing this particular summer program that I have brought to Dubai. Can you?
That they've been able to make. AI alumni.
Just for 2 minutes if we can play this.
Our Inspired AI alumni have gone on to pursue incredible college and career paths, applying their AI knowledge to diverse fields, from technology to healthcare to business and even the arts. With over 400 Inspired AI scholars now at Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, MIT, and more, we're so proud of the impact that they've been able to make. Let's explore their stories and see how Inspired AI has helped them shape the future.
I think one of the main ways that taking the Inspire AI camp benefited me when it came to like college applications and just like kind of future research opportunities was it was something that I could point to as a project and say I have some experience like working with Python or like working with sklearn, these specific libraries.
I think the biggest part was actually the essays, and some of the essays were talking about what you're passionate about, what are things in society that you want to change, and that was kind of where I tied into my project. And so to being able to put that there and showcase that I'm not just passionate about computer science and the technical stuff, but also the social stuff as well.
It was my first intro to AI. So I got to learn about the applications of AI. We did a lot of different like speakers. So that was really, really interesting. And we learned about computer vision, such as like sliding window method. We learned about yellow. At the time, I think it was yellow V4 or yellow V5. And I'm interested in computer vision to this day.
I did the AI and finance project, and when I first learned about Inspired AI, that project specifically is what drew me in, because at the time I was actually thinking of being a finance major, but I still wanted to do something tech related. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to explore it.
Also had a rollover effect on like other AI things I did. So like later on, I like got more experience with AI because I found it kind of cool. I found it like really exciting and cool in the program.
First, it was a personal statement that was the most heavily weighted piece of information you provide the universities with. So in there, I think I had a section where I talked about it in terms of the sort of skills that I had gained throughout the project, and talked a little bit about the actual application that we designed, and also mentioned it as the starting point for my interest in machine learning.
Many of our
Okay, stop. You can stop here. So I have just shared. So if you want later, I can share all these videos with you, the YouTube videos. So you can see how whether someone's doing mechanical engineering, someone's doing political science, for top universities, how it helped them. And if you look at this boy, the APS, the Jamin Ding, how he used the summer program, what he learned to win multiple science competitions also. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit about a summer program. So again, we can share this brochure with you. So the first thing to tell you from the left, if you can see the kind of mentors that we have. I know I'm doing it. Can you sort of zoom in on the instructors? Yeah, so if you just go a little down, you can see the instructors who are there for our programs. We work only with someone who's really going to be able to help you. So you've got a Stanford PhD candidate in bioengineering, master's from Stanford in computer science, UC Davis bachelor. So, and you see the kind of projects. This is very important, exciting for me. I can do multiple projects there, but this guy's project was AI-powered smart bandages. This is so unique to think about, and look at what is, what admissions officers will think about that. Wow, what a lovely project that you've done. The second one is Anna Sappington. She's a Marshall Scholar from AI ML. She's an MIT student. She's worked with some of the best labs in the world, and she's been applying AI in genome. Then you also have someone from Harvard, as you can see, postdoctoral neuroscience. So these are the kind of, instructors who we have brought or we are bringing rather in July to help you train. And it's only 10 students so that each child has getting that personalized attention. And the passion project is that child's. No one is duplicating the project unless you want to do something with another one. The next slide I want to tell you, can we go to Dr. Saeed Al-Daheri on the slide before? Yeah, the middle one, yes. So he's going to be a chief guest, and I want to tell you that, again, as I just said, industry mentors are important. So you have out here His Excellency. He was being the Director General of the Emirates ID. He's Scientific Advisory Committee of the UAE Space Agency, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He is the director of Center for Future Studies. He's a visiting lecturer at Oxford. And if you follow him, and he has so much, if you can read this, he's got so much. If you follow him on LinkedIn, whether it is China, whether it is Egypt, whether it is UK, whether it's Australia, this man is shaping the future of AI in the UAE. And we know UAE wants to be the best in everything. Having this man come do sessions with your child is so important, because you then know exactly what you need to do. What is it that you need to chart? What's happening? And of course, the best projects get recommendation letters from Saeed Al-Daheri out here. If we can go to the third one, where you have the industry experts. Yes, so here again, it's very important. So the first, another person who's coming in, Siddharth Lahiri, if anyone watches cricket, he is the director of Rajasthan Royals, and he is the leadership coach. So you can imagine all those big cricketers, who are stalwarts, they listen to him. Why do they listen to him? How does he say? How does he speak that he makes even those top cricketers listen to him? So that is what your child should learn. It's not enough to do a leadership, course, or leadership project. You need to know what is it that you do a leadership thing and personal branding. The second one, Mr. Kundal, he is, as you can see, he's an alumni of Harvard Business School. Plus, he is a CFO of finance at Alphatem. So he's going to talk about AI, finance, business, and 10 years, 5 years down the line, what is the business going to look like? How is this sector going to do? And how do you prepare your child for that? What is the future thinking? And the last one, because everything is about AI and satellite technology. Many of you must have known that, I think a few weeks back, there was the satellite exhibition expo at the World Trade Center. So he was there. So there's huge thing now, AI and satellite technology in business, in oil and gas, in security, in irrigation. So there he's again talking about business startups and where is technology bringing in. It is so important, I feel, that for a student to think about their career, look at something where there is a niche available for you, where you can do very well. Next slide, please. So apart from this, if you can just do the afternoon sessions, if you can zoom in on that. Yeah, so if you look at this afternoon, so apart from all this AI and all of that, we are teaching you public speaking, because communication is very important. How do you ace interviews? What is the elevator pitch? How do you do that? And we have got, again, industry experts coming and teaching that. Then again, how do you create? So I've talked about academic profile, but there'll be a student who will come and ask me, I heard you, everything. Can you help me with me? What should I do? Giving that personalized attention. Okay, what is your thing? Giving them that help, that support. Then a network, as I said, networking skills we'll be teaching them. Boot camps, how to write the common app, how to do that. Let's say someone might say, my child is in year 9. He or she will write it 4 years down the line. Why do I need to do that? To write that essay for the common app, you need to start reflecting from now, thinking about your life from now, making a list of experiences that you've had so that you can use it at that time. And of course, the admission secret. So we are going to have Q&A sessions with these people. What do you do to get into that? Okay, how is the admission for MIT different from the admission of Stanford? That little differences you need to do. Can I go to the next slide, please? This is okay. We might skip this.
She has a great.
So now, after all of this,
how
much is actually talking and how much is really true. So we'll start off with the first one. If I can do the first one, please. So this Siddharth is, he was the head boy of DIA.
She has a
interacting with MentorMind.
Can we do this first?
What is your idea about?
Can you need to pause this one? Yeah.
Great personality, and she makes sure that your essay is unique and personalized to your story, and it will always come across as genuine with her help. She helped me at the 11th hour when I made a late application to the University of Pennsylvania. And without her help, I wouldn't have gotten in. She really helped me tailor my essay to that university and really helped me tell my story. She has.
Okay, can you do the second one? This is a student who got into Imperial.
Been talking to Melis Yilmaz, who scored 3520 on UCAT and got admission into the Imperial College of Medicine. And she's been sharing with us some wonderful tips of how to ace those interviews and how to ensure that you get into the medical school of your choice. So Melis, you've been interacting with MentorMind for quite some time. What is your idea about MentorMind?
Well, about MentorMind, I found out that they're quite different from other tutoring companies in the sense that they actually focus on the student as a whole in a very holistic approach, thinking about their profile, how they can do different activities that are very strategic for the course that they want, for the schools that they want, and how they can really become the best and sort of the candidates that really stand out the most to the admission officers when they actually apply to university. But I also know that instead of just profiling, it's also important to make sure that you can show this through in your essays, whether it's for the UK or the US. And I've known Ms. Das as an English and TOK teacher for many years, and she's, of course, very capable at taking average essays into being ones that are outstanding, that show passion, and that really show that you're well suited for whatever school your heart desires.
Thank you so much, Melis, for that very, very kind comment.
Can you go
about
to the
MentorMind,
next one,
and I wish
please?
you all the
She would first reach out to all of us, understand thoroughly about who we are, where we come from, what are our aspirations, what are our skill sets, and then make sure that these are expressed very genuinely, authentically, clearly, and comprehensively in the college essay.
Okay, can we go to the next slide? So beyond summer, a program, as I told you about a program, you will get the skills to complete projects independently, translate projects into research papers, all this. You do not stop. After you finish this program, you do not say, next what? You've got so much of skills now that we gave you that you can start working on your own and build that profile. Guidance on choosing most cutting edge. So for example, for medicine, we will put you with someone, professor of bioinformatics or AI in diagnosis and surgical precision, data analysis to personalized treatment. This is cutting edge work happening in the world of medicine. So we are going to curate that list of topics for you, depending upon whatever career you're doing, so that you're not wasting your time doing a research on something which is like, okay, everyone does this. Mentor for international science fair competitions, inter-university interviews, courses, workshops, and then teach you the most important thing, network, network, network. If you can network, you have the battle is won, I feel, because you will be getting so much of information and help from people with whom you network to be able to get that internship or build your profile. Next one. So tips for, if I wanted to summarize everything, every activity that you do must tell a story about you. So what excites? So when the admissions officer is reading that profile, should know what excites its student intellectually, what kind of a learner and thinker it is. So your reflections are very important in the essays. And how can the student contribute to academic community? Remember, I told you the research topics, everything. Do your backward planning, go to that planning, go to the university website. We also do that for you as to, okay, this is the, topics on which you should do. So it's very easy for the exam, for the admissions officer, this child can contribute because this child has actually done the work exactly what we are doing out here. So it helps you in creating that kind of a successful application. Next slide, please. So one final thought, your profile cannot be built in a year, like Rome was not built on a day. So similarly, profile is not built in a year. It has to be, you have to explore passions from before middle school, keep a journal to document. And this one is for people who might think my child has 4 or 5 years, but 4 or 5 years, you need to write down your thoughts. You need to think what you want to speak about and let the profile go with you authentically rather than pulling things, oh, I have to do this, and do everything at that. So it should show consistency of what you like, the depth of that, your knowledge, and of course, you're growing in your skills. And then I think the last slide out here. If you can, yeah. So why MentorMind? Why do you even have to come to me? Because there's so many people at the market. And with online, you can go to anyone. So number one, we are very small and exclusive. And this is my philosophy. We don't work with hundreds of students. It's very small. We want to keep it very personalized. We feel that expertise in this particular field comes with experience. However good you are, if you haven't dealt with student after student after student, years and years and years and years and years, you're not going to get that niche. You can't understand if when a student opens his mouth, what he or she wants to do. That's why we only partner with the best. So our mentors are only top class mentors. For SAT, there's so many SAT. I only work with one person and I identify because he's also a parent. His daughter was not doing well in SAT and he got so frustrated. He said, let me only sit and prepare for the SAT and see what the SAT is. And he helped his daughter ace. And now he is 1540 to 1600 is consistently year after year after year, they produce results. So I will work only with them. When we talk about community projects, I don't want to work with anyone. I work with people from United Nations, and we have Mr. Juneja, who's a Nobel laureate for 2020 at the UNDP. He got the Nobel Prize. We work with them because, and these are not United Nations people who have, resigned or retired and for an extra money they're doing it. No, these are people working. They will tell you, they will be your mentors and recommendation letters. UAE and industry stalwarts for passion. It has to be an industry for your passion project because your passion project should show the university this child knows he's prepared for the next 5 years, what he needs to do. And of course, top professors for the best topics. And when you do all of this, as I said, you can have a fantastic profile, but your grades are not good. They won't even look at you. The first is your grades in school. So there are a lot of students who come to us and say, how do we improve our results? So we only partner with senior examiners so that they know exactly how to do something, so that your grades are also translated into something good. And we're very transparent. If I've sent my child to LSE for fine arts, I will tell you fine arts. I will not stop by saying LSE. Because for me, every child matters. The success is so relative for me. And of course, the most important thing why people come to me is because I'm a parent. When they speak, I understand because I face the same issues with my child. So I know what you're doing for me. And the last slide. Thank you. So there is a scanning a QR code. If you want, you can scan it. This is not a paid thing or anything, but if you have any questions, there are a lot of options out there. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Yes, now questions, Rima, anything that the floor is.
I think we have a lot of questions in the chat box. I'll let people speak it up, guys. Maybe you can unmute yourselves and you can ask me. We keep 10 minutes for questions that you have. Make sure the question is relevant to everyone attending, so that it's more of not a one profile question, but something which can benefit everyone. For one-to-one consultations, I recommend you book time in Kanchi's diary, and then she can guide you. All right, who wants to go first?
Hi, Rima.
Cynthia, you have an interesting question. Yeah, go, Ariba. Go for it.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I have a question. My son is in grade 8 right now, and I want to know that how important are the Olympiad exams for him right now? Because we want some kind of scholarship going forward that he would, beneficial for him. So can you tell me something about it?
Olympiads are very good, very important, very good. And again, please remember that when we look at Olympiads, there are a lot of students who have got into top universities without doing an Olympiad because they have shown their intellectual curiosity in a different way. If you're doing an Olympiad, please go ahead, please plan. And if you want, I will share with you. There is no harm in doing multiple Olympiads in different subjects. I have a Padlet, which right from year 7 to year 12 in every subject, what are the different competitions you can do? So I'm happy to share that with you. And yes, it is very good. What is important is to be able to map the growth of your child in those Olympiads, like how is doing now, next one, how, of course it is important. Also in terms of scholarship, please remember one thing is like a blanket rule. There are scholarships available, no doubt, but master's scholarship is way easier to get than an undergraduate scholarship.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question?
Any other question, guys? I can see this question from Cynthia who says, do you have UCAT training as well?
Hi,
Yeah.
Cynthia here.
Yeah, Cynthia is here. So I'll let her ask her question.
How many in your, do you have mentors? I mean, you've been addressing yourself as I through the program. So I was just curious to know. So how many mentors do you have? What is your, the whole team strength?
No. So we have, I'll be very frank with you, we have only 5 people working for us.
Okay.
And out of those 5 people, I am the rest of the 4 people are logistical support.
All right.
Now, no one has my experience, number one. Now, when you talk of UCAT or you talk of LNAT, yes, a person who's really, really good in something will not work under me. They will open their own company to work for it.
Okay.
So for UCAT, we do have, but I have had multiple students. You heard Melis, who got into Imperial, and she also got into Oxford for medicine this year. And UCAT, which is on 3600, she got 3520, which is like brilliant.
Okay.
And her thing was that for UCAT, you might need, if your child is not very strong in some concepts or needs a little bit of help in understanding, we can help you, match you with a very good tutor who will help you. But UCAT is something that you have to learn your own skills and your own strategies of how to answer the questions. I'll give you a simple example. UCAT is very sly in a way. The first questions of UCAT take very long to answer. So by the time you finish that, in the end, you see you can't finish the paper. So now when you have worked through multiple sample papers, which are all available online, what you have to find out is which of these questions do I answer the quickest? What your child will answer the quickest will be very different from another child. So your child must practice, understand which ones, and when the paper comes, answer them first. And then the wrong ones. You only need UCAT training if your child needs someone to explain the concepts, the medical concepts and all of that. If you want, we have 2 very good instructors who can help you with it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other question?
Hi, my name is Sanika.
Yeah,
Good
hi,
evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I have a question, not about Ivy League universities, but all the foreign universities which are in Dubai. Now, so many universities are there in Dubai. They have colleges here. So, if we want to apply in those universities, the requirements are same as per the other universities in that country?
No, there are 2 things. If you want to go to the NYU Abu Dhabi, yes, the requirements is the same like for, because NYU is NYU. There is American University of Sharjah, which is also maybe not as much as MIT or Princeton or things like that, but yes, it needs to be a very competitive profile because you want it. If you know, IIT has also come out here now in Abu Dhabi, IIT Delhi. So if you want to go for IIT Delhi, there are 2 kinds of entrance tests. If you go to India and do the admission test there, and if you do well, you will get a 50% discount, or you will get, and remember, it's a very small amount compared to the, when you convert it into the into the UAE currency. But you can also sit for an entrance test in the UAE, which they have now compiled, taking into consideration all the different curricula that is there. So that is only passing that exam, nothing else. If you want to go to the University of Birmingham, for example, then their best course is about medicine, bioinformatics and all of that. That is quite challenging, not the other subject. If you want to go to RIT, which is Rochester Institute of Technology, it is easier to get into that, but not the cybersecurity course that they have, because that is very good. And if you do the cybersecurity and some other very challenging courses, what happens is in the last year, the RIT is not a very strong university, but in the last year, you can go to RIT in the US, which is brilliant. So it depends upon what courses you are going to do.
So you mean to say every university has a different requirement for different courses?
No. So if NYU is different,
NYU is
American
leaving,
University,
yeah.
Sharjah is different.
Okay.
IIT, only the entrance test that you
Okay.
give to get into IIT. But in Dubai, the other two very good universities are RIT and Birmingham.
Okay.
But in Birmingham, it is the medicine thing, which is very important, and RIT is the cybersecurity. You do not have to do so much, but a little bit of project, a little bit of research is
Okay.
good to get into it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one question here which says, when should a child join an education counselor?
You're grade 8.
Grade 8. All right.
Yes. Unless you can come in grade 9 also, but in grade 8, you should start exploring different things. To know by grade 9 that out of the 15 things I thought I'm excited at, I've brought it down to 5. Grade 9, we work more. By the time you go to grade 10, you know what you want to do. And always, I tell my students, have 2 careers. One is plan A, one is plan B.
Wonderful. Great. One last question, guys. Is there anything burning? Anybody has any question?
What are the good psychology courses in Dubai?
In Dubai, again, I would say NYU has very good courses. There is this, not Birmingham, what is the other one? Wollongong has a good course. But I would suggest, I don't know, maybe we should talk later, because when you're talking about course, there's a lot of projects, there's a lot of real work experience that we also look for in psychology, which is very difficult to get out here because of the laws that are there. Does Vishakha have something to say?
Yeah, hi. My question is regarding economics, like all these passion projects, research projects. It's fairly simpler for a maybe medical student or an AI student to find something and do about their subject. But regarding economics, what is the best thing what the child can do which will add on like a tick mark to their profile, apart from the academics and SAT and everything?
Okay. Ma'am, the first thing I will say is that I want you and your child to go online, whichever country you're going to. There is a pure economics course that is good, but please look at the kind of things that are coming up. You have economics and public policy, economics and green finance, you have economics and data science. You have so many different kinds of courses that's coming up, economics and AI. So I would suggest that before you start thinking of a project, you go online and check in the universities that you would like to apply to, is that what kind of courses are there? And so now let's say I'm just giving you a random example, economics and public policy. That's a huge 3-year course. You will see when you go to the website, and if you go to the course, you will see there's a plus sign. You click on the plus sign, it gives you all the modules for the next 3 years. You will get to see the professors, their background. When you look at their background, you will see all the research that they are doing. Their PhD students, that will narrow down from the public policy to 1 or 2, 3 topics, which is good. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyone else? Did I make everyone sleep, Rima?